Welcome to the Four Bells. Here we are, workout from home number 54. Today is a big emphasis on upper body pulling in a supinated fashion and some muscular endurance for the shoulders. So when we start off with a warm-up today, it's making sure that everything feels ready, and there is no better way to get the shoulders ready, in my opinion, than the classic Turkish Get-Up. The Turkish Get-Up, one of my favorite movements, it incorporates three things that everyone needs more of: shoulder mobility, core strength, hip mobility. We all need more of those things. So we're going to talk about how to do the Turkish Get-Up today, but we should be doing it for 5 minutes and just doing one rep on each side. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that right about now. The Turkish Get-Up, one of my favorite movements. It incorporates three things that we all need more of. Shoulder stability, as we move through lots of ranges of motion through the shoulder. And apart from shoulder extension, we pretty much cover every single range of motion through the shoulder. Then we have core activation, really through the transverse core, the deep abdominal wall, as we move through space with our Turkish Get-Up. And last but not least, hip mobility, so we can move our legs fluidly underneath us as we go from laying on the floor to standing and back down. With the Turkish Get-Up, there is 6 steps, starting from the floor. So let's go through them very quickly. So you can use a dumbbell, kettlebell, barbell, slam ball, whatever you have available. Cat. I always love a good Turkish Get-Up with a cat. I've seen quite a few of those during our Zoom classes recently. So when I'm starting out, what I want to think is that I have a support side. So my arm that's holding the weight, this is my support side, which means the leg on the same side is bent to about 90 degrees. And this foot ideally doesn't really move or barely moves at all. On the other side, my leg and arm come out to 45 degrees, and I start by reaching up to the ceiling with my support arm and rolling onto my elbow. From here, up onto the hand, hips up, leg through. Ideally, I've got wrist, knee, and foot in alignment, and they're roughly equidistant. From here, up into a lunge position, making sure the legs are on train tracks. I'm going to stand up. From there, we go back down the way we came. Knee down, hand down, leg through, bum down, elbow down, lay down. The idea for the warm-up today is we're going to do a 5-minute practice. We're going to do 1 rep on one side, 1 rep on the other. If that goes well and you're feeling confident, then move to a heavier object if you can, or a weirder object if you can. Either way, 5 minutes of Turkish Get-Up practice for the warm-up today. It's strength time, and in our strength work today, we are doing 5 sets. Each set 3 minutes long, split into 2 90-second windows of time. So for both of our 90-second windows of time, we're going to be working for 45 seconds, which means we're trying to get as many quality, and I put the emphasis on the word quality, reps in during that 45-second window of time. So in my first 90 seconds, we are going to do some kind of supinated pulling. So if you know what supination means, it means palms facing up. So that means that versus pronation or neutral, when we're doing a supinated pull, you're going to find the biceps play a little bit more of an emphasis rather than the lats, not by a huge margin. We just find that ratio is slightly different. So with our supinated pulls today, am I doing some kind of palms up or supinated ring row? Am I doing chin-ups from a bar? Am I doing a supinated bent over row? Who knows? It really depends on what you have available. From here, when we get into the Z press, which we're also going to do for 45 seconds today, 45 seconds with a Z press is a fairly long period of time, so my advice would be to start light, and then if you're feeling dangerous, then add gradually heavier weights as we go. But let's spend a bit of time talking about how both of these should look today. With our supinated pulling today, the idea is some kind of palms up. So if I'm doing ring rows, which we're going to talk about now, or chin-ups, which I'm going to talk about in a second, you'll find having a position of supination is a lot easier than doing your pulls with pronation. Why is that? And it's mostly because, for most people, using their elbow flexors and their biceps is more common. You grab hold of a door, you pull it open. You grab hold of a bag or something off the floor, you pull it up. You pull your lover in for a loving embrace. Whatever it happens to be, we use our arms a lot more than we use our backs, generally, throughout most of our day, just because of the nature of what it means to be a human these days. With that in mind, It also makes pulling a little bit easier because usually we'll find we're a little bit stronger in our elbow flexors and our arms at first, which means it's a good way to build upper body pulling strength if you're trying to develop stronger lats for things like pull-ups or the chin-ups. Chin-ups being easier than pull-ups if you haven't tried them. Anyway, so when I'm doing my ring rows today, the idea is I'm going to set up like I normally do. So I'm going to come back into my plank position. From here, all I'm going to do is turn my palms up. So my palms face to the ceiling. I'm going to drive my elbows back, bring the chest to the rings, focusing on driving the elbows behind my body, and that will be how our ring rows should look today. Of course, if I'm doing chin-ups, same rules apply. I should be thinking, first of all, can I reach my chin up on step one? Step two should be making sure the hands are slightly outside of shoulder width, because I want the intention to be that I can drive my elbow back past the body. That was what I should be thinking about mentally. Whether I'm doing a negative, whether I'm doing a regular chin-up, whether I'm doing a weighted chin-up, the intention is elbow back past the body. You might not get that where the hands are at chest level, but we want to be trying to think about it. So, I set the hands up, nice dead hand, pull up, chin over, and then back down to the straight arm. Of course, if I'm doing a negative, same rules apply. Use the feet to hop up, hold, and then from there, a nice controlled descent to a straight arm. So either way, 45 seconds of some kind of supinated, for soup, that kind of pulling today. Z-press, a great overhead pressing option, mostly just because it kind of mitigates any help from the lower body. The lower body is always very helpful and sneaky. The legs want to take over, we want to try and compensate with the spine. Lots of things can happen when we're doing overhead pressing. So when we're doing the Z-press, it really eliminates all of that. What I need to think about is making sure that I have a good position with my spine. I'm not doing any excessive leaning or anything strange with the body, which we have seen happen during Z-presses. It's keeping the ribs down, keeping the abs nice and tight. You can start off with just an empty barbell or a light pair of dumbbells, and we're just going to press overhead for 45 seconds. Simple. All you've got to try and do is keep the feet down, keep those legs as straight as possible, and try not to lean back as we do our Z-press. 45 seconds of those bad boys. Conditioning piece for workout from home at 54 features 2 5-minute AMRAPs with a 2-minute rest in between. And to put it simply, it's short sprinty piece followed by upper body pressing piece. So in our first 5-minute AMRAP, we've got this couplet of sprinting with push-ups. So with my sprinting, again, it's what do I have available to me? I should be doing 100 meters, should be a short, sharp sprint. So that could be 50 meters away from my house, 50 meters back. That could be on a ski erg or a rowing machine for a very quick, intense 100 meters. That could be on my Airdyne bike for 10 calories. Or if I don't have any of those things available and I can't get outside, it could be 25 sharp and explosive jumping jacks. From there, as soon as I've done my sprint, I'm going to get into some push-ups and I'm going to do 10 reps. So with 10 reps today, it's picking the correct scaling that works best for you when it comes to push-ups. And more consistently, or maybe more importantly, I suppose, than that, is making sure that as we go through the AMRAP, as you start to fatigue, which you will, is making sure that you have options to make push-ups easier if the form starts to get compromised. After the first 5 minutes is done, we can take a delightful 2-minute rest into our final 5-minute piece where the format is the same, but instead of doing push-ups, we're going to do 15 1-5 push press. So with the push press today, it should be done ideally with both arms working together. So that could be on a barbell, that could be with 2 dumbbells, or if you've only got one object available, I would like you to do 15 on one arm and then 15 on the other. So let's talk about how this should look today. Pretty simple, but let's do a quick review of push-ups and push press. For the conditioning piece today, we have sprinting and some kind of upper body pressing, as we've spoken about. So let's take a quick look at the push-up and the push press. When it comes to push-ups today, all I need to think about is across that 5 minutes, who knows how many push-ups we're going to get in. You might find you get 50 push-ups in. If you're an absolute lunatic, I doubt this is possible, but you might get 100 push-ups in. I doubt that. But the point is if you know that muscular endurance in your push-ups is not your strength, you can do a few good ones, but then they start to go away, you have to make sure there's an option for you to make those push-ups a little bit easier and to regress them if you need it. That doesn't mean regress from difficult to like, this is like against the wall, super easy, you could be taking a nap, but it means you should be able to regress it just slightly and hopefully incrementally. So the easiest way, and we talk about it in the gym a lot, is doing push-ups near your stairs in your house if you're using them, or as we sometimes use a barbell in a squat rack, and then we'll play with moving the barbell up and down. So think about what works best for you. When we're doing push-ups today, as always, the position when we're doing a regular push-up should be hands, should be shoulder width. I want to think about external rotation, so if I imagine I'm holding onto a bar, I want to try and bend that bar, which in turn takes my humerus, my upper arm bone, pulls it into the shoulder socket. We use the lats to help stabilize the shoulder. And if I just kind of demonstrate on a bench for you, so it's a little bit easy for you to see, if I've got my hands on the edge of the stair on a bench, the edge should be right about here, about an inch away from the bottom of the palm. I'm still going to set that position up the same, pits of the elbow point forwards, I bring the chest down to the hands, and then press back up. So whether I am scaling it, or whether I am on the floor, the position should be the same. So, making sure the elbows stay nice and tight to the body, no weird flared hands, no weird flared elbows, keeping it as beautiful as possible. From there, we're going to look at push press today. So with the push press, you don't need much. Do I have an empty bar? Do I have a pair of light dumbbells? Do I have just one object to play around with? Either way, I'm going to keep those dumbbells up, abs nice and tight. I'm going to dip slightly and use that leg drive to help propel the weight off the shoulder. I dip, drive, straight back down to the shoulder. Dip, drive, straight back down to the shoulder. So in our AMRAPs today, in our first 5 minutes, it's going to be 100 meters, 10 calories, 25 jumping jacks, and 10 push-ups. We're doing that for 5 minutes, 2-minute rest, another 5-minute AMRAP, sprint, 100 meters, 10 calories, 25 push-ups, and then 15 push presses today. Let us know how you get on. Good luck, kids.